What I'm about to share with you will help you make any stranger fall absolutely in love with you in less than 15 minutes. Now, this works even on people that you know, and for them, you can do it in less than 10 minutes. But you need to understand how this art of influence works. It's a very simple 3-step process. But before you can execute this 3-step process, I want you to understand something very fundamental about human nature. Anytime you go up to execute this particular method, the first thing I want you to understand is you will not be successful with this method until and unless you master the very first step. That is, you need to understand how human nature works. It's not about your looks. It's not about how you execute these particular steps. It's not about how wealthy you are. It's not about how you look. It's not about how you think, but it's very fundamental. That is, how do you feel inside? This is very important. Now, when I'm doing this in a group setting and I'm giving a seminar, I have this very particular exercise that I would give to people so that they can understand the human nature. That is, I would give them a half a glass of water and I would ask them to go around, talk to other people who have the glass of water and ask them to fill your glass of water first. Whoever gets their glass of water filled wins, and whoever gives away their glass of water loses. Now, technically, there is no winner in this exercise. But what happens is very profound. You see, the person who gives away their glass of water first and loses, I call them up on stage and I ask them, when you first decided to give away your glass of water, what happened? And he or she would say that the moment I decided that I was going to give away my glass of water, everyone surrounded me. That's very profound. You see, the moment you decide to give something rather than take something from someone, people want to be around you. Now imagine if this glass of water was self-love. The moment you decided to give away love to other people, they would come right to you. Then I would also ask the people that who were seeking the glass of water, what happened with them? And they would explain that the moment they went up to someone and asked them to fill their glass, and they would just ghost them out. So I want you to understand this. It's very fundamental to human nature. If you have self-love and you're willing to offer to other people, they would surround you. They would want more of you. But if you are seeking love and you come from a place of desperation, people will ghost you. That's very fundamental to human nature. So I want you to take this as an example and understand that a lot of the times when you interact with someone, I want you to imagine if a person walks into a room and they have depression or anxiety, without even a single word being spoken, you can sense that. So their internal state has already set the foundation for the conversation you are about to have. So that means that our emotions communicate way before any word is even spoken. Now, what I'm about to teach you, this 3-step process has a prerequisite. That is, you need to control your internal state first. Before starting any kind of conversation, you need to first of all control your internal state. Now, there is a very good reason I teach conversational hypnosis in week 2 of my high value love identity program. The reason I do not teach that in week 1 is because in week 1, I'm helping my clients overcome their blockages, their internal state, their emotions, their childhood conditioning, their father wound, their mother wound, because all of these states are part of their predominant neurological state, which in simple terms is what they communicate during any interaction. So if I teach them conversational hypnosis and the art of influence first, what's going to happen is the moment they interact with someone, that desperation and that seeking validation, seeking love is going to transmit inside their subconscious mind, and they would start repelling this particular person. So the technique will not work. So the first week is solely dedicated to understanding how to remove these blockages so that your glass is full. Right? Then comes the second week where I teach people the art of conversational hypnosis and the art of influence. And I'll give you a very great example. You see, this is mirror neuron effect. One of my clients, she was an entrepreneur and she used to go around closing clients, and she asked me like what else she can do to close the client. So I gave her this one technique. If you understand mirror neuron effect, you're going to understand that you are influencing other people. People will mirror your emotional state, and you will also be influenced by other people's emotional state, right? Because mirror neuron effect is a two-way street. So I told her, right before the day that you have to close a particular client, how about you watch any kind of series or a movie or any kind of character or any kind of personality who's great at closing? Because what's going to happen is your subconscious mind will start mirroring those traits. Your subconscious mind is great at mirror neuron effect. So what she did was she started watching the series Suits, and she started observing Harvey Specter right before the day that she had to go to a client to close the sales. And she told me that this particular technique helped her embody the traits of a great closer. And this is very important, guys. You see, what kind of exposure your subconscious mind has, it will start mirroring those traits. So if you want to be influenced, control what you are exposing your subconscious mind to. Now, that is this prerequisite. I want you to understand that if you do not get the prerequisite to this particular method right, the rest of the steps just wouldn't work for you. Now let's start with what are the steps that you can reach out to a complete stranger and make them fall in love, or you can do this in a business setting or in your personal relationship. Now, step number 1. If you have to start a cold conversation with someone, this is what I do. First of all, fill your glass up. Have 2-3 glasses with you so that you can offer to more people. So have your glass full. First, that is the prerequisite. Have your glass full. Now, step number 1. Whenever you reach out to someone, now I use this technique whenever I'm solo traveling and I have to initiate conversation with complete strangers. I even go up to complete group of strangers and just interact with them. Now this technique helps. The first line of interaction is you have to talk about the environmental circumstances. Now what is an environmental circumstances? So step number 1 is ask them environmental related question. That is, if you reach out to someone, you and them have something in common. That is the environment that you are currently in. So you can ask something along the lines of, hey, what are you having? Like I would reach out to someone who's having a drink and I would be like, hey, I was really wondering, what are you having for drink? And is it good? It seems like a nice drink. Now, anytime you ask someone environmental related question, they are highly likely to engage with you, and these questions are non-invasive. They do not penetrate their privacy, and people are highly likely to interact with you once they sense that the questioning that you are doing is not invading their privacy. Like you can completely reach out to a stranger and be like, hey, I'm going somewhere and I have no idea where I'm going. Do you know something? Like if you ask a question like that, people are highly likely to answer. Now, once they start answering your questions and you start talking about the environmental circumstances that you both are in, the second line of questioning is identity-based questioning. This is the point where you introduce yourself and ask them identity-related questions. Like in my case, I would be like, hey, my name is Ax, very lovely to meet you. What's your name? And they would give me their name and I would be like, so what do you do? And people are highly likely to respond to identity-based questions once they have some subconscious resonance with you, which you have already established in step number 1, that is environmental questioning. So people would be like, hey, I do this, I do that, and they will answer all these identity-based questions. Now, what I tend to do is, my way of interaction is the moment they start revealing their identity, what they do for a living, I would be very interested in what they do. And then I will ask them, hey, is this your passion? Like, is this something that you really love doing? Now, here's the thing about passion, guys. Passion is our love. The moment we talk about our passion, we love that conversation. You can talk about your passion all day long and you will never get tired, right? But the moment you start talking about your passion, a feeling of love floods into your system. Right? However, there is a very neat trick that is happening behind the conscious understanding. That is, their subconscious mind has just triggered the feeling of love inside of them. And as they're talking about their passion, they're looking right at you. So their subconscious mind is now recording you with the emotional state of love. And you keep talking about their passion. You start showing more interest in their passion. And then comes step 3. Now, step 3 is very, very crucial. What you do in step 3 is, I tend to ask childhood related questions. These are the most subconsciously bonding questions that you can ever ask someone. And these are some of the most private questions that no one will answer up until the point you have established identity level resonance. How I tend to navigate towards step number 3 is, I go like, hey, is this something that you always wanted to do as a child? And suddenly I'm asking their subconscious mind to reveal what they like to do as a child. And suddenly either they would say yes or they would say no. Whatever they say, doesn't matter. I'm going to be like, so what did you love doing as a child? Now, I want you to understand something very important over here. Whatever we experience between the ages of 1 to 9, that is our childhood, is the strongest neurological state or the emotional state. The moment I ask them about their childhood state of love, I'm tapping into their predominant neurological state, the strongest emotional state that originated from their childhood. The moment they start talking about something that they love doing as a child, I'm bonding over their predominant neurological state. They would start talking about, like, I used to love playing this and this. I used to love doing this and this. And I would start resonating with them. I would start showing more interest in that. And before they even know it, we were strangers 15 minutes ago. And now we're talking about their childhood dreams, what they love to do as a child, and we're bonding over our childhood experiences. And before you even know it, whatever I was feeling inside that I set up in my prerequisite before executing this particular method, they are feeling the exact same thing. And suddenly, these people want to interact more and more with me. Now, I have used this technique to make shit ton of friends, and I have used this technique to win clients. I have used this technique to establish rapport with anyone that I want. This works magnificently, but it will only work if you get the prerequisite right. That is your internal state. Your glass should be full. You should be willing to offer than to seek something from them, because their subconscious mind will understand, because in between your conscious mind and subconscious mind lies the critical factor. This critical factor is the firewall. And if this critical factor feels like you are seeking something and you want this person to give something to you, the critical factor will go up. However, if the critical factor feels that it's not losing something, but you're offering something and it's getting something, it will go down. The moment it goes down, you have access to their subconscious mind. This is the art of influence. Save this video, try this out. And if you feel like, hey, how do I control my internal state? That is the prerequisite to this particular method. I would highly recommend you try out my free course on instant heartbreak healing mastery. Now, in this 90-minute course, I teach you how your subconscious mind functions, how you can remove a particular heartbreak or any negative neurological state. That means you're trying to fill your glass up. And once you do this course, you will understand how powerful your subconscious mind is, because there's also a hypnosis included in this course, and you will be blown away by how fast it works. And once you do that, I want you to go and try this technique on anyone and observe what happens. And you're going to realize you can just reach out to complete strangers and win their heart in less than 15 minutes of conversation. So do give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Up until then, stay happy, stay blessed, and keep influencing other people. Bye-bye.